Barry Bryson, thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. We're continuing our study of the biographical Psalms of David. I took twice as much time last time we were together than I promised, so I'll try to make that up to you over the course of the next several Psalms. We're in Psalm 52, the very next one. In fact, Psalm 51, 52, 54, 56, 57, 59, and 60 are all autobiographical songs. So we have several right in a row, or very close to each other, in the hymn book. And they are all connected by the phrase steadfast love, which appears in every one of these biographical songs that happen very close to each other. This song is much earlier than last time's song. This song, it says in the superscription, to the choir master, a maskil of David, when Doeg the Edomite came and told Saul, David has come to the house of Ahimelech. These are events that take place in 1 Samuel chapter 22. And this is early on when David is fleeing from Saul. And he goes to the priests, and the priests help him. And, you know, they give him food, and he gets Goliath's sword. And anyway, that event. So Doeg the Edomite. And the Edomites are never portrayed well. I mean, they had a real hatred of, and seemingly a bit of an inferiority complex toward the Jews. Remember, the Edomites are descended from Esau. And so they always had a difficult relationship. And when the Babylonians destroyed Jerusalem years later, the Edomites participated in it and were condemned in several of the prophets for it. So this psalm is personal. It is. I mean, there is a phrase to God at the end. Verse 9 is directed to God, but the rest of it is directed right at Doeg the Edomite, because Doeg the Edomite went and told Saul that the priests had helped David, and those priests were massacred. And so David, this young man, has the blood of these priests, you know, on his conscience because they helped him. I mean, he didn't do the evil thing, but there is a cause and effect connection, and you really get the feeling of the visceral, just vitriol that he has towards this man. And if you want a summary of what the psalm says to Doeg, it's, you're going to get yours, buddy. So let's read the 9 verses of Psalm 52. Why do you boast of evil, O mighty man? The steadfast love of God endures all day. Your tongue plots destruction like a sharp razor, you worker of deceit. You love evil more than good, and lying more than speaking what is right. You love all words that devour, O deceitful tongue. But God will break you down forever. He will snatch and tear you from your tent. He will uproot you from the land of the living. The righteous shall see and fear, and shall laugh at him, saying, see the man who would not make God his refuge, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and sought his own destruction. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of God. I trust in the steadfast love of God forever and ever. I will thank you forever because you have done it. I will wait for your name, for it is good in the presence of the godly. Okay, well, this is pretty self-explanatory. Verses 1 through 8, you know, are a unit, and then verse 9 is a tagline at the end addressing God. It begins and ends with the steadfast love of God. David feels loved by God and completely sure of God's protection, that God is going to triumph in the end. And therefore he is sure, because God is righteous, that Doeg is going to get what he deserves. And there is a real sense of celebration about that. Not so much, I guess, schadenfreude, but the whole notion that good will triumph over evil. I mean, that's just so clear there. and a great deal of looking forward and satisfaction and even derision. And if we're a little uncomfortable with that, let's not forget Psalm 2, which talks about the Lord laughing at the powers of the earth, thinking that they can determine history when He's the one who does it. The Lord will have them in derision. So verse 6 is in keeping with the ethos of Psalm 2. And just the joy in seeing justice served. I do think it's easy to hear, the voice of a young man, whether we had that historical reference in the superscription or not, but we know exactly what this is about. And David, in this moment of great despair and probably a great amount of guilt, although in his head he knew it wasn't his fault, in his heart he can't help but, just be sick about what has happened to these priests. He wrote about it, and he turned it over to God, and had confidence in God to make things right. Okay, we're going to pick up with Psalm 54 next time. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.